Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user Munidab96. Am I the a-hole for kicking my brother out of my wedding for making my fiance cry? My wedding was this past weekend and I'm honestly still in shock over what happened. My fiance, now wife, and I have been together for 7 years. We've gone through everything together. Moving in, job losses, her battle with anxiety, everything. So our wedding day was supposed to be our day to finally celebrate all that, right? Well, it was until my brother decided to ruin it. For context, my brother, 30 male, has always had a weird thing about pranks. He calls them jokes, but honestly, they've always been mean-spirited and embarrassing. Growing up, I'd laugh it off or get mad, and he'd say I was being too sensitive, but this time, it went way too far. During our reception, he got up to give a speech. I thought it would be nice. Maybe he'd say something heartfelt for once. But no. Instead, he pulls out an effing slideshow of hilarious photos of my wife. Old ones from her Instagram where she's crying, looking vulnerable, or just super unflattering. He starts making jokes about her weight fluctuations, saying how she used to look like a twig when we first started dating and now she's more well-fed. My wife's face turned white. She started crying quietly, and my brother, he just kept going, laughing like he was the funniest guy on the planet. The whole room was dead silent. I saw red. I stood up, walked right over to him, and told him to leave right in the middle of his speech. I said he was done, and I didn't care if he was my brother. My wife was humiliated. He tried to brush it off, saying I was ruining the fun and that everyone else thought it was funny. No one laughed. Not one person. He refused to leave at first, so I told security to get him out. He stormed out, calling me a effing drama queen on the way out. Now, my parents are furious with me for embarrassing my brother at my own wedding. They think I overreacted, that I should have let it slide because he didn't mean it. My mom even said my wife was overreacting too, and that this was all just part of his sense of humor. My wife hasn't stopped crying since. I told my family we're taking a break from them, but now my phone is blowing up with texts from my mom and dad saying I've fractured the family and ruined my own wedding over a joke. I get that I blew up, but I couldn't stand seeing my wife so hurt. Did I go too far? Am I the a-hole? No, OP, you're not the a-hole. You did exactly what you have to do as a husband. You defended and stood up for your wife. Your brother is 30 years old and he behaves like a jackass? Honestly, what the F is wrong with him? And your parents? Oh, it's just his sense of humor. He didn't mean it. I'm sorry, but fishing out old photos of when somebody's vulnerable and then making a presentation about it, that was not an accident. That was absolutely meant. We're talking about a 30-year-old man who has no accountability and his parents jump to defend him and then blame you, OP, for breaking the family? Get the F out of here. Are these people snacking on lead paint chips or something? Here's the thing, OP. You're not breaking the family. Your family is right beside you and she's crying right now. The others are now extended family. So I'd cut them loose and only think about letting them back in once they apologize properly, taking accountability for what they've done and how stupid they've been. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. You Must Be Jokin' says, not the a-hole. He ruined the wedding by being cruel and using the excuse that it was a joke. Your parents obviously are either dumb or have facilitated this poor behavior in him so much that they are delusional enough to think it's okay to call a bride fat and humiliate her at a wedding. Then have the audacity to try and guilt you for standing up for your wife who was crying at her own wedding. They are toxic, and you seem like you have overcome these dysfunctional interactions and become enough of a human being to know it was unacceptable. I would keep my brother and my parents away from the wife. They will bully her and belittle her until she is so beaten down like the bullies they are. Dry Sandwich 860 says, your parents are the reason your brother has problems now. You need to tell them that your brother has alienated you and no one else at the wedding seemed impressed with him. By refusing to teach him how to behave when he was nasty as a child and by making excuses for him, they have isolated him. Your brother ruined your wedding and your parents are supporting him and continuing to hound you about it. That should tell you all you need to know. Electronic Law 6350 says, "Bill the bastard. Bill your parents if they are defending them. Get all your guests on your side. He ruined your wedding out of spite and hatred." I can't believe there are people out there that still do these things and get away with it because it's just a prank, bro. Lawyer up if you can. Actions have consequences and it's time he faces his. This is defamation at least. Tell your wife it's not her fault. The photos are not the reason why you married her. Pamper her. Treat her to nice things now. Show her love because she is definitely internalizing these things. Nip her doubts and fears in the bud. What your brother did was truly cruel. Who here wants to bet Golden Boy is jealous that OP got married before he did? Don Shakar says, "Not the a-hole. You didn't ruin your wedding, your brother did, and your parents are enabling him. You are absolutely right to cut them off. You threw your brother out of your wedding to defend your wife, and you should continue to protect her. That's what marriage is about. Unless your brother apologizes to you and to your wife, he should be out of your life for good." As for your parents, write them one text that your brother ruined your wedding and you are shocked that they are taking his side. You are blocking them for the near few weeks to give yourself and your wife time to heal. And after that, you will only agree to resume a relationship if they apologize for their insensitive and unfair words about your wife and you. And Pidiplus says, "Not the a-hole. Your brother is the one who fractured the family, not you. Honestly, go low contact or no contact with him. You have your own family now. Focus on that." So the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and that his family basically sucks. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hey everyone, I posted here a little while ago about what went down at my wedding, and I just wanted to say thank you for all your comments and support. It's been a rough week, but I figured I'd update everyone on what's happened since then. After kicking my brother out, I stuck to my word and told my family we were taking a break. I blocked my brother on everything, and my wife and I decided to focus on each other for the week, just trying to recapture some of the joy that was stolen from us on our big day. We went on a mini honeymoon to a cabin we'd rented and tried to shut out the drama for a bit. However, as soon as we got back, my parents showed up unannounced. They claimed they just wanted to talk it out, but the second they sat down, it was clear they were there to defend my brother. They kept repeating that I overreacted and that he was just trying to be funny. My mom even said, "You know how your brother is, he didn't mean to hurt anyone." I told them that whether he meant it or not, he did hurt my wife, and that's not something I can just brush off. My dad then hit me with, "Family is family, you don't turn your back on blood," and I honestly lost it. I told them that my family is the one I chose to build with my wife, and if they can't respect her, then they don't get to be a part of our lives. They left in a huff saying I was being manipulated and that my wife was too sensitive. The day after that, my brother tried reaching out, through a mutual cousin this time, saying he didn't mean any harm and that he's willing to forgive me if I apologize for embarrassing him in front of everyone. This absolutely floored me. I realized in that moment that he still doesn't see what he did as wrong. I haven't responded and I don't plan to. My wife and I have started couples therapy not because there's anything wrong between us, but because I want to make sure that she feels supported and knows that I'm fully on her side. It's been helping her process what happened, and I think it's helping me realize just how toxic my brother's behavior has always been. We've also decided to have a small private vow renewal next year, just us and a few close friends, to reclaim what that day was supposed to be for us. In the meantime, we're focusing on our future together and cutting out anyone who doesn't respect us as a couple. So yeah, maybe I did fracture my family, but if my brother's jokes are more important to them than my wife's happiness, then I'm honestly okay with that. Thank you again to everyone who reached out. It meant more than you know. I'm honestly overwhelmed by the support and feedback from all of you. Praises. My wife and I have been through the ringer lately, and seeing this community rally behind us means more than I can put into words. Hearing your stories and advice has really helped us feel less alone in all of this. It's tough standing up to family, but knowing we're doing the right thing makes it worth it. Thank you. Wow, OP, your brother, he's like the epitome of the audacity of this idiot, saying that he's willing to forgive you if you apologize for embarrassing him in front of everyone. Man, you idiot, you embarrassed yourself. And the fact that you still say you didn't mean any harm but actually caused some and refused to apologize for it, taking accountability, you're just a moron. Anyways, OP, good for you for continuing to stand up for your wife. So here's wishing you both the best in the future. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user FlatAd471. Would I be the a-hole if I drop out of a friend's wedding after not being invited to the bachelorette? Hi, so I, 25 female, am currently being pushed back and forth with my choice, and I thought the lovely people of Reddit might be able to rein me in. I am currently 13 weeks pregnant, and my friends around me have all been very happy and excited for me. However, my childhood friend, 25 female, let's call her Lisa, stonewalled me since I announced at 8 weeks. I assumed it was wedding stress, but now I'm second guessing it. In the weekend, I was scrolling Instagram and I came across a post where she had thanked everyone for coming to her bachelorette. Photos of the girls and her smiling in the middle, and I sort of sat there shocked. At first, I tried to be mature and just let it go, but this was a girl I grew up with. She was a bridesmaid in my wedding, and I'm an honorary bridesmaid for hers. She's not having a wedding party. In the end, I guess hormones took over and I ended up reaching out to her. At first I went, "Oh, looks like fun," and she replied that it was. And after a tub of ice cream and a good sob, I reached out and went, "Hey, sorry to be this person, but why wasn't I invited?" She immediately messaged me back with the response, "To be honest, the whole day was centered around drinking, wineries, and heading to town after, and I'm not sure you would have enjoyed being around all of us drunk as F, especially 'cause you're pregnant right now." I get that an invite would have been nice regardless, but in all honesty, I just wanted to keep it very small. I'm really sorry you feel that way, but I don't want to make this a big thing because I've already had a crap week. I tried to respond with, "Hey, thanks for getting back to me, but I'm still upset because the day is about you and I wanted to be there to celebrate you." Then she rung me and just asked me to not make this a big thing once again, and she sounded incredibly annoyed, and like the doormat I am, I dropped it. After thinking this over for the past few days, I'm feeling very hurt and heartbroken. This was a girl I grew up with and loved and supported through a lot of crap. I've helped her plan and prepare a lot of her wedding, so to suddenly get iced out like this, I'm feeling a certain way. My husband suggests we don't go and I'm on the edge. So Reddit, would I be the a-hole if I declined going to her wedding and distancing myself? Well, B, I don't think you would be the a-hole because she honestly doesn't sound like much of a friend. You came to her with an honest question like, "Hey, I'm supposed to be an honorary bridesmaid, you're my friend for years, how come I wasn't invited?" And her response was, "I don't want to make a big thing out of this." And the excuse was, "'Cause you were pregnant, like you couldn't have had fun without drinking." Now, additionally, I gotta say, I'm a bit curious as to what this honorary bridesmaid title is. I really don't get it. Is that just like a guest that wears a ribbon or something like that? I don't know. Honestly, it's irrelevant. I was just curious. In summary, OP, no, I don't think you would be the a-hole. I think if you really don't want to go because you're hurt, you have all the right to say, "You know what? I'm just not gonna go. Thanks for the invitation. Have fun and all the best." And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. And now let's check out the community comments. Mary Quite says, "Not the a-hole. I get how you're feeling. I was the only one of our friend group who wasn't asked to be a godparent to one of my friend's 3 boys. I was incredibly hurt and even more so when not invited to the hen party for her second wedding. I've just unfollowed her on Facebook and let it slide. I don't need an explanation. I deserve better and surround myself with people who do appreciate me. She's jealous you're pregnant and it's probably best to go low contact or even no contact." Not August, but Ordinary says, I suppose whether you go or not depends on whether you enjoy weddings and whether you think you will enjoy being in the company of all those friends who went to the bachelorette party and never uttered a word about it to you. And Opie responds, the issue is, I'm considered one of her old friends. We grew up in a small town and moved to the same city. We both took different paths in life, both in jobs and social circles, but I had always been invited to birthdays and events. And while I might not be friends with her group of friends, they definitely know of me. But you make a good point and something to consider. And Comfortable Bag 1737 says, I've just had a baby, and now I'm breastfeeding. Friends and family message me with, I know you can't drink or leave the baby, but I just wanted to invite you. That's all it needs. It's kept me close to everyone, even though I don't see them that much. Alright, so the community agrees that OP wouldn't be the a-hole if she dropped out of the wedding. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. So, I haven't heard from Lisa. That I expected. What I didn't expect is a friend of Lisa to get in touch with me. Let's call her Sarah. I knew of Sarah and spoke to her a few times at events we attended together, and she was one of the girls with myself who went dress shopping for Lisa. She was also a friend I noticed wasn't at the bachelorette, which was a surprise anyway. And at first she was doing a, hey, how are you? And we did polite small talk, blah blah, until she finally went, so are you as pissed off and mad as I am at Lisa, OP? Immediately, I was slightly shocked as the few times I had met Sarah, she was very, I guess, demure. That opened the floodgates of information and she told me everything she knows. So what I didn't put in the post is I actually waited 2 days before messaging Lisa about the lack of invite. Turns out 3 of Lisa's friends who also weren't invited hit her up immediately after she posted on Instagram asking why they weren't invited. Turns out these girls absolutely chewed Lisa alive, and my confrontational was soft. And finally, it was revealed what actually happened. Lisa admitted to Sarah that her sister-in-law planned the bachelorette and just decided she was only going to invite the friends she knew. So Lisa's usual group of 8 to 10 friends, including me, got narrowed down into 4, and Lisa decided not to correct her sister-in-law and just went with it, not realizing how many people she would be upsetting with not inviting them. Apparently, once people started attacking her, she buried her head in the sand and started making up lies to everyone on why they weren't invited and using the same excuse of, don't make this a big deal, until everyone realized the reasons were BS and called her out for it and the real truth came out. Frankly, I don't know what to make of her future in-laws. I know for a fact Lisa's paying for most of the wedding. Also, one of the reasons they actually have no bridal party was because Lisa and the groom had a massive argument about wedding party size. He wanted more than her. Finally, the groom stomped his feet and said, no wedding party then. And so Lisa went around giving out the honorary title and asked certain people to wear a certain color. It's all rather sad, actually. Then the groom asked her to make his sister maid of honor, cause she means a lot to him. A lot of red flags. But Lisa's also the kind of person that if you negatively comment on her relationship, she cuts you off. So I've always just been supportive in the background. Anyway, Sarah has informed me the girls who weren't invited have all pulled out of the wedding, their partners included, because they got the same annoyed response from Lisa before she told them the truth, and they all thought they didn't deserve that. Then she finally asked me what Lisa told me, and I went deathly quiet on the phone before finally admitting she used my pregnancy as an excuse, which then started poor Sarah on another rant of anger on how Lisa could say that to me when I'm pregnant. Anyway, we ended the call and she hoped we could get coffee sometimes, so I think I've made a friend? So I've gone from, yeah, I'm not going to, crap, because I can see both sides. Lisa was an idiot for not reaching out to everyone before posting on Instagram about the situation and is probably stressed out of her mind right now. It's kinda why I'm glad once I got the annoyed phone call from her, I just dropped it and went inwards, where it sounds like the other girls went, nah, F that. I guess Sarah and I were shocked considering how much we have done for the bride and we felt hurt and upset we didn't get invited. Sarah, from my understanding, was asked to be maid of honor, but she turned it down due to her job, so I would consider us to be very close to the bride, but it's interesting to hear different sides. So, that's the update, and I'm currently the #1 buyer of ice cream at my local dairy. Lol. Well, OP, it sounds like your friend Lisa is rushing herself into what seems to be a crappy marriage. Hopefully, she opens her eyes before that, but you can't do much if she doesn't want to see it. In any case, OP, here's wishing you the best in the future. Take care and thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.